Welcome everyone to Saturday Sanga. In case you didn't notice, it's Saturday again. Om Om Gyanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurudeva Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupakadamahyam Dadhati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uttaparakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitangscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasa Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Today is Saturday. It's also we are told it's the appearance day of Sripad Ramanujacharya. And no doubt the appearance day of others. Anyone here have a birthday today? No birthdays today, tomorrow, this coming week. Lord Ramachandra's birthday is coming up. The appearance of Lord Rama. Oh, message. Gadai is, wow, he's already 15. Happy birthday to Gadai.
Hare Krishna, thank you, Guru Maharaj.
Is he playing football?
Yes. Your games. Thank you.
Okay, let's adjust this.
Pouze, že víš tvoje kalhoty.
I agree, whatever that was.
Já jsem cvičila. Já jsem první jsem udělala dobře a druhý, je to nepraktické, když ty máš i tu látku, kterou zatáčíš.
This
Já
must
jsem
be right
to končila a
Victoria.
takhle se dívala a viděla, že...
Okay. Okay, we're singing. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur's Bhajana Lalasa, song number 13. And here I have to admit, I have to confess, it's not the song I expected. It's interesting how memory works and sometimes doesn't work. I was somehow sure, but obviously being sure is not enough. I was sure this was going to be another song, but that's okay. Maybe there's more in the series. Someone can look and see how many more there are in this series, I guess. This song is called Gurudev Kabe Tava Karuna. So it's again addressed to the Guru, and it goes like this in translation first. Gurudev, O spiritual master, Lord Gauranga's transcendental pastimes are eternal realities. I wait for the day when, with this firm faith manifested by your mercy, I will wander through the groves of Godruma, chanting Hari, Hari, and hoping to behold those pastimes. Second verse, the Panca-tattva, nitya-tattva, Advaita, Srivasa and Gadadhara, will flood the entire universe with the intoxicating nectar of the holy name of Sri Krsna by performing a maha-sankirtana. And third, in my ears, I will hear the sounds of dancing and the playing of the mridangas. By constantly beholding the sweetness and beauty of the pastimes of Lord Gauranga, I will swim in the flood tide of divine love. And finally, materialists will throw dirt at my body and proclaim me thoroughly mad. For being again bereft of seeing the jewel of that pastime, I shall weep and cry out, "Oh, my Lord Gauranga." Okay. So it's a lot of future tense here. First comes the question, Kabe, when? When will your mercy manifest? And there's going to be bhromibo, darśana-āśe, bhromibo, I will wander. And third verse, bhāsībo, I will float, I think. And finally, Kandaha, Ha Gauranga, Pagala bolia angete di beka duli. No, okay. All right. Let's see what we can do. Gurudev Kabe Tava karunā-prakāśe śrī-gaurāńga-līlā hoya nitya-tattva edridha viśvāse śrī-gaurāńga-līlā hoya nitya-tattva edridha viśvāse hari hari boli godruma-kānane bhromibo darśana-āśe hari hari boli godruma-kānane bhromibo darśana-āśe nitya-gaurāńga advaita Srivasa Gadadhara pañca-jana nitya-gaurāńga advaita Srivasa Gadadhara Panca-jana Krishna Kshetra Swami jagat Kori maha-sańkīrtana Krishna nama-rasa bhāsā'be jagat Kori maha-sańkīrtana nartana-vilase mridanga-vadana shunibo apana-kane nartana-vilasa mridanga-vadana shunibo apana-kane dakiya dakiya selila madhuri basibo prenera bane dakiya dakiya selila madhuri basibo prenera bane nadaki abar selila ratana kandiha Gauranga boli nadaki abara selila ratana kandiha Gauranga boli amare vishayi. Whoops, second time. Nadaki abara selila ratana kandiha Gauranga boli amade vishaye pagala boliya angete dibeka tuli amade vishaye pagala boliya angete dibeka tuli Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. That's too high. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Nitai Bol, Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Hare Bol, Hare Bol. And again, the song going through the Bangla. Gurudev, Kabe Tava karunā-prakāśe. Kabe is the question word. When? Tava karunā-prakāśe. When will there be manifestation, prakāśa, of your karuna, of your mercy? Śrī-gaurāńga-līlā, hoya nitya-tattva, a-dridha viśvāse. Śrī-gaurāńga-līlā is the pastimes of Gauranga. Hoya nitya-tattva, as an eternal reality, or they are an eternal reality. A-dridha viśvāse. Dridha means firm, viśvāsa means faith. This firm faith, or in this firm faith, because it's viśvāse, so it's locative. In this firm faith, Hari Hari Boli, or Boliya, chanting Hari Hari. We often devotees greet each other with Hari Bol. It's become universal devotee language, Hari Bol, multi-purpose expression. It's actually an imperative form, which says Bol, chant. Chant what? Chant Hari, chant the name of Hari. But here it's Boliya, chanting or having chanted godruma-kānane in the forests of Godruma, bhromibo. I will wander. I will just go wandering around. It's this word Brahma. We have also in the word Brahmanda, which means the egg of this place of wandering, literally. This universe is Brahmanda. We're all in one big egg together, one big cosmic egg, and we are wandering from one place to another, from one body to another. But here it's bhromibo, I will wander, but this is going to be an ecstatic wandering, darśana-āśe, in the hope, āśe, in the hope of what? Darshana, of seeing Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Nitai Gauranga Advaita Srivasa Gadadhara Panca-jana. So he lists the Panca-tattva and refers to them as Panca-jana, the 5 people, 5 persons. Krishna ā'nāma-rase, bhāsā'be jagat. Okay, so this is, again, future tense. They are going to flood the jagat, the universe, with the rasa of Krishna's name, or in the rasa of Krishna's name. How are they going to do this? Hoya maha-sańkīrtana. They're going to make a big, grand kirtan, sankirtan. And then verse 3, Nortono Lalasa mridanga-vadana shunibo apan-kāne. In my ears, kāne, from karna, I will hear the sounds, apana, my own ears, in my own ears, I will hear the sounds of dancing and the playing of the mridangas. Shunibo, I will hear, again, future tense. Nartana, vilasa, the play of dancing, the the enjoyment of dancing, nartana vilasa, mridanga vadana, the sound of mridanga. Then dakiya, seeing, literally, means constantly seeing or seeing again and again. She lila madhuri, seeing the sweetness and beauty of this lila. Bhromibo premerabane, I will swim, I will float in this flood tide of divine love. It says here, translation, bane, premerabane. I will float in love. Nadaki abar, selila rotono, kandi ha Gauranga boli. Let's see, where does this go for being? Okay, he's turned the translation around a little from the verse sequence. Nadaki abar. Abar means again. Dakiya, not having again seen. Dakiya. Shelila ratana. Ratana is ratna without the added syllable, so it's jewel. This Leela jewel, this jewel of Leela, the Lord's pastimes. We can say Mahaprabhu as the jewel of Leela would be one way to take it. Or we can say the pastime itself, Sankirtan, presumably, of these 5 devotees distributing and dancing. Kandi ha Gauranga boli. I shall weep and cry out, "Oh, my Lord Gauranga." Kandi ha Gauranga boliya. And then he's translated the second part first. Amare bishayi pagal boliya ongete dibeka duli. Materialists, vishayi, amare, pagal boliya, they will say that I'm a madman. Pagal is someone who is mad. Boliya, saying that I am pagal, of me. Ongete dibeka duli. They will throw dirt on my body. Duli is dirt or dust. Angete, on the body. Dibeka, to throw. Yeah. That last comment, that the materialists are going to be abusive of me, it's interesting as sort of the conclusion of the song, which is, the whole song is one of anticipation. He's anticipating this ecstatic experience of the vision of Mahaprabhu and his associates doing Sankirtan, everyone floating in the bliss of the holy name. But there's still going to be some materialists around, Vishayi, those engaged in Visha, you can say, taking poison. And they're going to, he's anticipating, he's expecting to be abused by them. So that's interesting. In other words, he knows, or he's pointing out that spiritual life doesn't mean that the more advanced you become, the more you get respect, or the more you get, you know, you become free from what others will think or something. No, there will always be people who throw dirt or in some way cause trouble. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur is basically suggesting he doesn't care. It's okay. That's going to happen. Yeah. So what? So what? Who cares? It's not going to matter because I'm going to be absorbed in the mercy of the Lord in the holy name. Okay, we have some information here from Dharma Gupta. This is the last song in the series. Maybe I was just right about the number of songs. And the next section is Siddha Lalasa and the song named Kabe Gauravane. Now I'm wondering how many songs are in that series.
Guru Maharaj, there are 3 songs in that series.
3 songs. Okay, now, yes, thank you. Now I remember because it's the last of those 3 songs, which is kind of like super ecstasy. I mean, it's all Siddha Lalasa, longing for perfection, and then the last song, I think, is it's like, I did it. And he describes that ecstasy very in some detail. Yeah, Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai. So today we are anticipating a surprise guest coming at the beginning of the hour, which is in less than half an hour. And I'm not going to tell you who that is. So you can speculate. Before that, we can do, okay, let me do one thing. And after a very short while, I'm going to disappear for about 2 minutes and come back, and maybe you have maybe somebody of you wants to share something, but I want to share right now from Surdas. There's a section called Ramayana, since Ram-līlā, Ram Avirbhav Mahotsava is coming up. So here is a short song. Let's see. Yeah, this is song number 364. Hey brother, hey boatman, take your ferry fee. King Raghupati is standing, waiting here. Why hide your boat over there? And the boatman says, quote, at the touch of Hari's foot, a slab of stone vanished to the realm of the gods. What would I do to take care of my family if that should happen to my boat? I've heard plenty about the grandeur of those feet. Jatayu merely praised the dust gathered there and found himself ferried to heaven, transported to heaven. The greatness of Surdas's Lord is so measureless that Vedas and Puranas raise the song. And in Braja Bhasha, it would sound something like this. Re baya, shebat le uttarai re baya, Raghupati Maharaja ittatare, te katanava durai re baya. Asma sila te bhai devagati, jabahari charana chubai re baya. Hon kutumba kahe pratiparon nava vahe he jai re baya. Tir yo jatau charana raja bandita suniyata bahutta badai re baya. Suradas Prabhu aganita mahima Veda Puranani Gai Re Baya. So this song is alluding to two pastimes of Lord Rama in a sweet way. That just soon after Lord Rama left the palace, as he had been sent to the forest, he left with Sita and Lakshmana, and they came to the river Ganga, and there they met boatmen to take them across the Ganga. And the boatman was, in this account, he is hearing already what happened sometime in the past, and he's worried because he's heard another pastime. He's heard that Rama, when he was with Vishvamitra, and they were traveling on their way to the kingdom of Janaka, and they stopped at the hermitage of, what's his name? I want to say Gotama, but that doesn't sound right. Vrindapati will know.
Please say the question again.
Well, the hermitage where Ram liberates the wife of the sage.
Ahilya. Was it Ahilya?
Ahalya, and the sage's name?
I think it was Gautam Rishi's wife, but
Was it
I can double
Gotama?
check that.
You may be right, yeah. Yeah, so Ahalya had been cursed, and there's different versions, but in one version she becomes a stone. That's another story, but she's been cursed, she's become a stone, and now Lord Rama comes, touches the stone, and she becomes liberated. And the stone it says here, vanished to the realm of the gods. And so the boatman is saying, look, if this same Rama steps into my boat, what's going to happen to my boat? My boat's going to be destroyed, and then I'm not going to have any way to, I won't have any, my profession will be destroyed. I won't be able to support my family. So in other words, the song is, and we can say this is the Dvani dimension of the song, the suggestive dimension. It's a glorification of Lord Ram's lotus feet. He's worried about the power of the feet of the Lord. And it's a worry which is a glorification. He also mentions Jatayu, and he keeps to that theme of the dust of the feet. Jatayu merely praised the dust gathered there. There means at the feet of the Lord. And found himself ferried or carried to heaven. Okay, we have confirmation. It's Gautama Rishi. Yeah, so that's nice.
Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. Could I add something or what I heard about this story of Ahalya and Guhya? If you give me permission to share.
Yes, you can do that. And while you're doing that, if you don't mind, I'm going to disappear for 2 minutes. I'll be right back.
Okay. Well, Hare Krishna. I heard the story that when Ram came to that river, he wanted to go on the other side, of course. Then this the leader of the Aborigines was there. What was his name? No, I forgot. So he said to Ram, it will be not really possible because actually I already have a wife and I already have a daughter. And Ram was wondering what's going on here. So actually the boatman, he explained, my wife always says to me that I should not go back home before I don't get a suitable husband for my daughter. And what happened, actually, this boatman explained that if Lord Ram puts his lotus feet on the boat, then the boat will turn into a woman. The boat will turn into a woman, and then he will have a double problem. That means he already have one daughter, but now the boat will turn into another daughter, and that will be too much to take care. And Ram was wondering, okay, what is the solution for that? And then the boatman said, the solution is actually that we wash your lotus feet, because why this happened, that the stone turned back into Ahalya, that was because of the dust of your lotus feet. So actually we have to wash your lotus feet.
So there is no dust.
So there is no dust. And that's what happened actually. They washed his lotus feet. Everybody got in the family of this boatman the water of Lord Ram. Yeah, then Lord Ram actually stepped on the boat and the boat didn't turn into second daughter.
Okay, so that's a good explanation of how it works. Thank you. Okay. Does anyone else have something to share? Kakinchana Balaram from Mayapur.
I just want to mention regarding reminders, since you were speaking about it, that Vidhan Gauranga Prabhu here from Mayapur, who is a devotee Sanskrit scholar, he already published 5 volumes of Valmiki's Ramayana translation, word by word in Prabhupada style, with a commentary of certain acharyas from Madhva Sampradaya and Ramanuja Sampradaya as well. They're available on Amazon. And he's going to start the course on the Ram Navami just in a few days, which is available on Zoom course on that Ramayana. We were attending Chaitanya Bhagavata seminar he's giving already for last month. So he said that he would be giving Ramayana seminar as well. So
Who is that?
Vidwan Gauranga Prabhu, if you
Oh,
remember him.
Oh, yes, Vidwan Gauranga, I remember.
Yeah, he's translating it, and already 5 volumes are out. We had the books, like Prabhupada style, word by word translation and commentary and everything, very, very nicely done. And now he's doing the course starting from Ram Navami for the next 6 months, 3 times a week, something like that. And it's free to register and enroll. But also on YouTube, there will be, I guess, recordings.
Uh-huh.
In the chat, I can send a link if anybody's interested.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. Rasadari Hari is sending us some more things. Ramakrishna Viloma Kavya. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's an interesting kind of practice that's done by some very expert Sanskrit poets, writing a verse or a series of verses, or in this case, I guess it's a whole, I don't know how long it is, but you read it one way and it's telling the story of Rama, and you read it another way and it's telling the story of Krishna. Okay, and some more things. Raghava Yadava Pandaviya. Three different ways. Okay, Ramayana, Bhagavatam, Mahabharata, and Raghava Pandaviya. Venkatadvari. When read from the end of the book onwards, meaning backwards or what? Anyway. Yeah, so in this way, so many wonders of the Lord's pastimes, the way they're described. Good. Who else? Anything? Anybody? Some news. I want to mention, please, if you haven't heard already, please pray for our dear Panca-jana Prabhu, who is suffering quite seriously from COVID, to the point that they've taken him from Mayapur to Calcutta to the intensive care unit in some hospital. He's receiving oxygen he needs for breathing. So yeah, it's like that. In Mayapur in general, a lot of this COVID is going around. Yeah, possibly different mutations, and that's kind of, that's become the new concern, is just when we thought everything will be solved with some vaccine, then new mutations come, and then the vaccine doesn't work for them. Anyway, material world. May Lord Shiva swallow the poison. That's my meditation. Okay. One other thing, I meant to show this a couple of weeks ago, but didn't, is there is now, again, after 16 years, now again being published, this will be once a year, the ISKCON Communications Journal. This was being produced, yeah, up to 16 years ago. It was going for about 10 years, the communications department of ISKCON, and mainly on the inspiration of Shanakarishi Prabhu. And then for various reasons, especially because he became very busy with the Oxford Center, For Hindu studies, it kind of fizzled out. Well, now it's back under the direction of His Grace Mahaprabhu in Radhadesh. He's committed himself to one issue per year. Where to get this? Well, let me inspire you. What's in this? First of all, ISKCON Communications Journal. It's an academic journal, we can say, and it's meant for the public, as they say, policymakers and people who may be concerned about new religious movements or various things like that can be there. So in previous years, and you can read all of the previous issues online, just search for ISKCON Communications Journal and you'll find them all. All kinds of subjects are discussed. In this issue, we have 2 articles about Vaishnava Christian dialogue, one by Anuttama Prabhu, one by Gerald Carney, who is Roman Catholic, but he has studied Gaudiya Vaishnavism as an academic, teaches in Virginia, USA. Then there's an article by Akandadi Prabhu called Why Consciousness is a Big Deal for Science. He's become very involved, interested in this subject, has been doing a lot of reading and studying and also writing on it. Akandadi was, years ago, he was the president of Bhaktivedanta Manor. And then there's an article called Keeping Cows in the Center, Cow Care in ISKCON. And this is by myself. Then Radhika Raman Prabhu, Ravi Gupta, has written Trees in Trouble, Humans in Need, Competing Environmental Priorities in the Bhagavata Purana. And then we have Rasamandala Prabhu, also from England, godbrother of mine, ISKCON and Ethics, the Benefits of Paying Explicit Attention to Moral Philosophy. Rasamandala has begun a doctoral research project at Cambridge University on this topic of ethics in ISKCON, something he's been concerned about for many years. And finally, we have from Pranava Prabhu, professor in Stockholm University. His article is called ISKCON and the Gaudiya Mats, Conflicts, Schisms, Growth, and Aspirations. And there's also a book review by Tattvavit Prabhu. British Idealism and the Concept of the Self. By Stamatola Panagoku. It's a book review. So he relates what he's discussing about, it's philosophical kata on the subject of personhood, selfhood, what is all of that about? And he relates it to Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy. This is available, I understand, from Bhaktivedanta Library Services in Radhadesh. So that's where you can order it if you if you like to be up on these things. Or if you would rather just read Srimad Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita and Bhagavad Gita, that's also good. You don't have to worry about it. Okay, let's see. We just have about 3 or 4 minutes. Chitrakarani, you want to make an announcement?
Hare Krishna, please accept my respectful obeisances, Maharaj. Guru
Hare
Maharaj.
Krishna.
Jai Srila Prabhupada. To my God siblings, I have good news for the translation of the Bhagavata Purana documentary. Rasodati Hari Prabhu give the confirmation that he will translate the documentary into Croatian, and also Taruna Saki Devidasi will translate it into Slovenian. So I would like to inform my God brothers and God sisters for this good news. Also Karuna Shakti Prabhu, he's not in the meeting at the moment. Also he gave the confirmation that he will translate it into German, and also greetings to him from here. And I also would like to thank so much to Mangala Chandrika Devidasi for all her organizations and help trying to find the devotees who would like to translate the documentary.
That's nice. And my thanks also to everyone doing these translations. Just now I'm seeing Olya's question, is Soumya Karani sick? Yes, she wrote to me to say that she is not well. She will not be here to translate today. Okay, well, Hare Krishna. Krishna, Krishna. There's so many things one could speak about, but I don't want to get into something and then stop, because I'm expecting I don't know if our guests will be exactly on time, but possibly. And we don't want to have our guest waiting. So what else can we discuss? This week, yeah, it's been a pretty normal week here at Sadhu-bhavan, quiet week. Some construction is going on. We're getting insulation of the ground floor being done by Akhilatmananda. He's using his 2 weeks vacation time for working. He works every day, all year round, at his frame making job. Works very hard. And then now he's getting his 2 weeks off, and what is he doing? He's working. Okay, so now the question is whether our guest is here. How will we know if he is here? I guess I can go searching. Let's see if he is here. Whoops. No, I don't see yet. Huh, that's nice. We like to see Kike here. Kike in Cordoba. Are you in Cordoba, Kike? He's being quiet. Okay. Who else? Somebody who is labeled home is here. That's kind of anonymous. And Neela Chalachandra is here. That's nice. And somebody named or A, another mysterious name. Who else? So many of you have joined. That's very nice. Well, now how do we do this? Maybe I should ask Nandi Mukhi, are you there?
Yes, Guru Maharaj.
Ah,
Yes,
there you are.
Yes.
So,
Guru Maharaj, I gave Maharaj early in the morning after he gave Srimad Bhagavatam class this morning and was all fine at 2 o'clock. He's giving also Fridays for his disciples also, and he's functioning very nice Zoom there. So
you don't have his phone number, do you?
no, Maharaj was he was making a photo from my to his own WhatsApp. So I don't have contact, but I can. I have one of his disciples here. I can fast.
Okay, so maybe you can chase him a little bit. And yes. Meanwhile, Chaitanya Charitamrita. Who did their homework? That's what I should ask. Who did the reading homework? Darya Chandrika and Prema Sarovara and Lalitamrita and Sugopi. Does anyone want to comment on anything you read from from Prabhupada's purports to these verses? Or any question that you had from it? Everything's clear, straightforward.
Guru Maharaj, I had a question when I was reading it.
Okay.
Because in the verse it says about how even devotees, when they're very advanced, and they're very advanced, if they hear this flowery language of Mayavadis, they will get, they can get, taken away from the path. And I was thinking, what is it about the flowery language of Mayavadis that's so attractive, that would be more powerful than bhakti?
Yeah, that's an interesting question, because there's a kind of paradox to the question also, because it seems like in order to answer the question, one would have to get into the flowery language. And then, then we're all caught. Usually that term flowery language, usually in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna refers to the flowery language of the Veda as being attractive to the materialists, right? So I didn't remember. Prabhupada says flowery language of the Mayavadis.
Yeah, I think it was a purport, but I don't have CC here now. You have.
There he is. The one and only. His Holiness Kadamba Kanana Swami Maharaj.
Maharaj, thank you for hosting me.
Thank you for coming. I know that you are a busy Swami.
Well.
And I know that you've been having various events, one after another.
Yeah, it was a little busy last week.
And you had your Vyasa Puja. I think we all want to offer you a belated happy birthday, if we may.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
And yeah, we just wanted to, well, let me explain like this, my general concept of sometimes I'm inviting various one and another devotee to join us because, well, it's a bit of a concern that we tend to make we have, so to say, our individual guru-disciple families. And there's a tendency that these can become a little bit insular, a little bit like bubbles. There's, there's sort of, there's me and my guru and our family, and that's it. And I want to just help our little gathering to appreciate so many senior devotees such as yourself. And so I'm happy that you're here. And well, I have 2 or 3 or 4 thoughts about what you might like to talk about. I don't know if you'd want to do this or not, but sometimes I ask devotees sort of, how I became a devotee story. And I know in your case, it involves a dog named Krishna.
Yes, it does, Maharaj. Yes.
So I don't know if you want to share that or not, but if you like.
Sure. Yeah, the how I became a devotee story. I am from just outside of Amsterdam, and I was groomed to take over a family business. And so for a while, I was kind of taking that identity, like the future executive, like when I was wearing a suit, right? But then I realized that the whole world of young people was going in a different direction, and they were all dropping out. And so I also dropped out. And once I had dropped out, I went to India. And there, of course, I saw so much, and I came back and I had a lot to digest. And India captured me, and I went every year to India after that. So it was...
From which year was that?
That is from my 17th year. That was 1970. And then eventually I started reading books about India, Indian philosophy, and that's how Krishna consciousness came a bit closer. Now, I saw these Hare Krishnas on Dam Square in Amsterdam, and maybe even you were there. Could be, because I heard that you stayed in Amsterdam in that tiny little well, in India we would call it a go down,
Yes. Betanienstraat.
The Betanienstraat. I was just there with a television crew recently, just a few weeks ago, filming and talking about the history. So I read your notes and that you gave on that episode and so on. Anyway, so I saw these Hare Krishnas on Dam Square in those days, and they looked to me like the height of religious fanaticism.
Yes.
I could, you know, they were like, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, and jumping up and down. And when I saw this, I was like, whoa, you know, look at this. So
little did you know that you would be doing exactly that.
The thought was absolutely, I was quite sure when I saw that I wasn't going to do that. I want something spiritual, but not that. Right? That's basically, I was quite firm about that decision after seeing that fanaticism. So I went to India, and then via India and reading Indian literature, eventually I came to Prabhupada's Gita. And yeah, by then I was still smoking cigarettes and maybe other things also. Anyway, I was reading the Bhagavad Gita. Yeah, I know all this. And in this way, I was, then I saw these book distributors on the street, and they were wearing wigs, right? Yeah, I mean, those were the days. The devotees shaved and then put a wig on while they were on the street doing Sankirtana. So I saw them. I mean, you can spot a man with a wig.
Yeah.
So I straight away go, that's one of them. You know? So I developed this technique of not making eye contact, you know, and just looking into space and just walking straight past. No book distributor ever stopped me. Yeah, but that's how I work. Anyway, then instead, I got a girlfriend, and yeah, and she had a dog, and the dog's name was Krishna. The reason was a friend had just read a book of Krishnamurti and had said, when she asked, oh, what shall I call the dog? He said, oh, call it Krishnamurti. She said, that's too long. I'll call it as Krishna. So that's how the dog became Krishna. But anyway, so then at night, I would walk with this dog, and this dog didn't want to come back. So I was calling out loud at night, Krishna, Krishna. So every night I was doing Harinam around the block, basically. That's what was going on. And well, you can see what happened. The chanting of the holy name is very powerful. Even if unintentionally chanted, the results are remarkable.
Indeed.
Yeah.
And the rest is history.
And so
I didn't know that your connection with India went back so early to 1970.
Yeah.
But then at one point, well, I guess this goes into the 80s. I don't know, you can tell, but you've spent quite some time in Mayapur, and you became one of the managers, and you became, well, which was first? You were overseeing construction of Prabhupada's Samadhi in Mayapur.
What was first was that I joined in 1978 in Vrindavan.
Right. Oh, in Vrindavan.
Yeah, and that I stayed in Vrindavan until the end of my visa, right? And then, well, I also struggled a little. It wasn't just all easy. So I became a servant of Akshayananda Maharaj, who you remember well from Amsterdam. And
actually, I never had any interaction with him. He was gone by the time I came there.
I see.
But I heard about it.
Well, Akshayananda Maharaj was very, very strict with himself and also with others. Maharaj would get up at 11:30 at night.
Acha.
And then he would chant in the night. And so one night, okay, it's a little graphic, the story, but you know, what the truth is the truth, right? So we were sleeping on the roof of the Gurukul building in Vrindavan, because it was very hot to get some air. And Maharaj was chanting on the roof while all the devotees were sleeping. So I somehow or other woke up, and as I woke up, I released a little bit of air. And Maharaj just snapped at me, "You're awake! Get up!" And I said, you know, you can't wake up a man who is acting as if he's asleep. So I refused to oblige. Maharaj was very strict. It wasn't so easy to be his servant. But I was his servant, yeah. So anyway, at one point, I decided to take a little break from the Hare Krishna movement. We sometimes call that blooping. I blooped for a few days and went to Benares because I knew Benares. And there was a sadhu seated at the Ganga. And usually they ask you, what is your name? What is your country? You know, this man didn't ask anything. He just started to chant Hare Krishna. And I had just escaped. It was too much. It was like, oh my God, Krishna has sent this man. 45 minutes, he was chanting Hare Krishna. Well, it made it very difficult. I wanted to escape further from the Hare Krishnas. The next morning in Benares, I stayed in a hotel. The next morning in the street, there was a group of Indian people also chanting Hare Krishna. And then I thought, my God, this place is bewitched. And I wanted to escape. And I thought, where to go? Where can you escape from Krishna? Then I thought, maybe the best bet is if I go to the Tibetan Buddhists in the Himalayas, you know, there maybe the least presence of Krishna may be expected. Anyway, I went to the Tibetan Buddhists and I got dysentery on the way. I was very ill. Someone said, why don't you go to this Tibetan doctor? I did, and I went to the Tibetan doctor, and there was only one room and one seat empty in the waiting room next to someone who was yellow like a banana. And guess what? I got it. 2 weeks later, I was yellow like a banana. So I returned to the Netherlands with severe jaundice. And for a couple of days, for a while, I stayed outside the temple to recover. And then I went to the temple in Amsterdam, which then was the Herengracht. And I stayed there for about 6 months. And then I returned to maybe even a little less, maybe 4 months. And then I returned to Vrindavan. And in Vrindavan, even on my first day in Vrindavan, I was helping in the restaurant, and the manager left on the second day, and I became the manager of the restaurant. So, you know, it went like that in those days. So suddenly I was running a restaurant, and an Indian restaurant. It wasn't easy. I mean, one day I had many chapati cooks, and at one point a devotee named Rohini Kumar, he was my chapati cook. He was a Swami also for some time. Unfortunately, didn't maintain that. But Rohini Kumar, he would cook chapatis. So one day I got 25 people, all villagers, and they wanted thalis, and each thali 4 chapatis. So the kitchen was downstairs, the restaurant upstairs. I called down to the kitchen and I said, 100 chapatis, right? No chapatis came, nothing. The people in India, they kind of don't take well to these things. They took their cups, their drinking cups, and started banging on the table for chapatis. So I was under a lot of pressure, and I called out in anxiety to the kitchen, chapatis, where are the chapatis? Then suddenly the door flung open and the chapati cook came flying out the door. On his finger, he had made the head of a joker out of chapati dough, put it under my nose and says, no chapatis, because the cook quit. I'm not one who is at a loss for words, but that's the time of my life. I didn't know what, I was just say a word. That was something. Yeah, so many adventures. It was Surabi Swami, who was from the Netherlands.
Yes.
And who kind of discovered me, and who, without my knowing, made arrangements for me to go to Mayapur and take over the Samadhi. And then Bhavananda was the one to...
Which year was that?
That was in the beginning of 85. I actually, 78 to 84, I was in Vrindavan. Then Bhavananda, he pulled out of Vrindavan. At the time he was the GBC, he pulled out, and he pulled out all his men. So he sent me to Australia. And this way I wound up 1 year in down under in Strathmore. Right.
Ah,
yeah.
That's why you still go there.
That's right. That's right, Maharaj.
That's right, mate. That's
yeah.
right, mate.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right, Maharaj. You know, I go down under every year, and it's kind of, what shall I say? You know?
Every year?
Yeah, right. You know? Yeah, it's like I had a good. They sent me to a farm because the idea was that my health should pick up. I had a lot of malaria in India, so the idea was send him to a farm to build up his health. So I came to this farm, and the devotees go, "All right, mate, we're going to the paddock." So I didn't quite know what a paddock was actually, but a paddock is the field, I found out. So we went to the field, and I'm on the field, and this devotee goes, "All right, mate, here's your shovel, and now move your hooves." Now, I had just come from Vrindavan, where you have lotus feet, you know, and I looked down at my feet, and I just wondered, do I have hooves? Right? The culture shock hit me there and then. Yeah. Anyway, it was a whole experience. But yeah, it was like that in those days. Like I remember, devotees just got swapped. Yeah, there was a thing where a devotee could get swapped.
Yeah, you found yourself somewhere else because somebody decided. Right?
Yeah, someone decided, and they just decided. In the morning, they decided, okay, I was leaving Vrindavan, okay, and I was going to go to Detroit, right? Then in the afternoon, I was going to Australia. You know, that's how it was. Yeah.
Like that, I came to Amsterdam from Germany. It was decided.
Yeah.
My special qualification for going to Amsterdam was that I had a driver's license. In those days, not many devotees had a driver's license.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so then you were in Mayapur.
Yes, and then after Australia, I came to Mayapur, of course, I was always in Australia, desiring to go back to India. Then I was in Mayapur, and it was the end of '85, and there was there were preparations going on for the upcoming 1986 500th anniversary of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu.
Mm-hmm.
So Jayapataka Maharaj wanted an expo, like some sort of exhibition center with exhibits from all over the world and exhibits from the dioramas about the philosophy.
Mm-hmm.
And he wanted this thing to be built out of something more permanent than tents. So he had some personal money, and here and there some hidden bricks, some hidden steel, some hidden cement, you know. He would instruct me, and you go behind this and this building, and there is some steel lying there. You can take that. You go there. I mean, you know. And so he personally coached me, and I was building his expo. As I'm building the expo, suddenly Bhavananda stands behind me.
Look out.
Yeah,
What are you doing?
Yeah. So I felt highly uncomfortable. And he goes with a very sweet voice, he says, "Do you like construction?" And I felt this doom descending upon me. And I said, "No, not in particular," as neutral as I could. And he said, "Great, you're in charge of all construction in Mayapur."
Oh my God.
And he walked away and left me reeling, thinking about, what does that mean? What does that mean? It meant many things. It meant,
as you would soon find out.
yes, it meant the samadhi. It meant the finishing the Radhamadhava temple, building the Nrsingadev temple. It meant making that courtyard in front of it, finishing the conch building. It meant building a police station, building houses in the housing colony. Like that, it meant many things. And I didn't know anything about construction.
It was not your family business.
No. No, it's like, it wasn't my thing. But I found out later that Surabi was behind it, and that he had orchestrated the whole thing. Just see. And many adventures, of course, in the course of that, of being. But it was very nice that I could then stay in Mayapur after having stayed in Vrindavan. Yeah.
Maybe we can linger a bit in Vrindavan. I'm sorry, in Mayapur, just because in a talk you gave recently, which I listened to, no, this is a nice thing. You used an expression which I found very striking, and I thought maybe you can, shall we say, tie this in with some experience in Mayapur. You use the expression harnessing Krishna's mercy. For those of you who don't know the English word harness, it's what you put on a horse. It's the strap, it's the set of straps and so on. A horse, or also an ox, I suppose, for pulling something or for riding. And the idea of harnessing, to harness something special, harnessing some energy, for example. And so I was struck by Maharaj's speaking of harnessing Krishna's mercy.
Nice, thank you. Okay. It may sound a little arrogant, you know, in a way. So before I embark on this, a little disclaimer maybe. You know, I don't think I'm the you know, the one who controls Krishna, and that I can just harness his mercy and make him, you know, move according to my will. Rather, I try to move according to Krishna's will. Nonetheless, Krishna is very kind. Krishna is very kind. Krishna is very much appreciative of his devotee. And in the Krishna book, Srila Prabhupada refers to Krishna as Achyuta, which he says the infallible, the one who never fails. And Prabhupada says, yes, Krishna is Achyuta, the infallible, the one who never fails to reciprocate with the smallest service rendered. So I kind of think of that definition of Krishna when I speak about harnessing Krishna's mercy. Because not only is Krishna noticing the service that a devotee does, it is much more than noticing. Krishna actually becomes emotionally touched by this gesture of service. It actually touches his heart. And that's where the element of capturing, harnessing, has that element of capturing in it. And that's where that element of capturing comes in, where Krishna's emotions are touched by the service that the devotees render, and again. And yes, for example, there is a beautiful story about Draupadi in the Nectar of Devotion. It is the famous story where Draupadi is being disrobed in the royal assembly, and Dussasana is trying to pull off the cloth. And yes, then what happens is that Krishna supplies. Well, first Draupadi holds on to her cloth. Then she realizes there's nothing I can do, throws her arms up in the air, says, "Hey, Govinda." And subsequently, Krishna supplies the unlimited length of cloth, and the whole assembly hall fills up with cloth. Well, when I read this in the Nectar of Devotion, there was a reference, and Krishna said, whenever I remember how Draupadi called out, "Hey, Govinda," then my love for her increases. So it's, you know, sometimes you read something and it strikes you. And so when I read this, it struck me like lightning. I thought, like, this is it. For years, I have read in the Bhagavad Gita, that verse about the spiritual bank balance. Whatever you do comes into your spiritual, every service you do, it accrues in your spiritual bank balance. Being a Dutchman, you know, I was always wondering, what about the interest? You know, the bank balance there must be some interest, right? And lo and behold, that day when I actually read this, you know, then I realized when I read about Draupadi, and I read, whenever Krishna remembers the service that she did, his love, his appreciation for her was increasing. I thought, this is it. This is it. This is the interest. The interest. Every time he remembers, his appreciation is increasing. And what is the percentage of interest?
Hard to calculate.
Indeed, it is hard to calculate because it is unlimited. But anyway, this principle where Draupadi captured the mercy of the Lord, and where his appreciation for her service is increasing each time he remembers. In other words, he becomes more captured, because appreciation means, again, the heart. So that is the nature of the heart. When we appreciate a person, we become captured. So to actually capture Krishna is an essential theme in our philosophy. We see that devotees who are surrendering to Krishna are coming to a point where they say, Krishna, I am yours. But then there is a stage which is even more advanced, and it is described as mamata, the stage where Krishna, you are mine. Yes. So of course, I only read about such things. I cannot say that this is happening to me, but I hope to make a humble beginning towards harnessing the mercy of Krishna. And to once the mercy of Krishna is there, that mercy of Krishna is empowering. One becomes empowered by this mercy. And this, because of Krishna's appreciation, within the devotee becomes empowered with spiritual strength. And Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in Chaitanya Charitamrita purports, Amrita Prabhavasya has defined empowerment as being invested with the Chit and the Ananda Shakti, or with the knowledge potency and the happiness potency. And so the empowered devotee gets taste in Krishna consciousness. Then he can do so many things. And in this way, he is harnessing the mercy of Krishna. He now becomes an empowered, he becomes more than himself. Now he is his own lowly self combined with this mercy of Krishna, and therefore which manifests in his heart as happiness and being inspired. And so one can actually become the instrument of Krishna. Again, I only read about these things, I think about these things, and hope that by the blessings of Vaishnavas, one day it will come to pass. So you all bless me, please.
Can we say that to harness the mercy of Krishna, one has to agree to be harnessed by Krishna?
Very nice, Maharaj. Why don't you tell me something about that? Because that's your thought.
I don't know. I just was so much struck by the image of harnessing.
Yeah.
Maybe because since recently, by some twist of fate, I've become the European representative of the Ministry of Cow Protection and Agriculture. So I'm thinking about these things. But you mentioned Chaitanya Charitamrita, and I do believe you've been working on a book about Chaitanya Charitamrita. Would you care to share something about what you are writing?
Yeah, I must say a little bit that there was a little break in my writing, and I'm still recovering. I went through COVID in October.
Yeah, we heard.
And unfortunately, I was recovering, getting stronger and better. But then on the 21st of December, I had an extreme blood pressure, like off the charts. I'd never seen such a high blood pressure mentioned anywhere. Where, like, the diastolic is the lower blood pressure was 165. And so it was a crisis, you know, and I have spent the last few months dealing with that, getting a grip on the thing. And it's now since the last 2 weeks that it seems to, stabilize with certain medication, but at least it's stable now. And I feel a little bit more energetic, and I begin to talk about my book again. Yeah, for a little while, I had so much brain fog. I could not, in the beginning, I had so much brain fog. I just couldn't think. And I just felt, you know what I felt like? I felt like watching videos. You know, it's like, I never do that, Marge. It's like watching TV and all that. It's not me, but I just felt like I want to sit in front of this thing and just watch. It was an interesting experience, but I hope it won't come back. It was intense. Now back to the book. Well, somehow or other, I joined in Vrindavan, and Krishna was so emphasized and so in the center of the whole culture in Vrindavan. One can also sense the presence of Krishna. Vrindavan is wonderful in that way. Naturally, I heard a lot about Ras-līlā and about the intimate love that exists between Krishna and the gopis, because a lot of people in Vrindavan are very interested in those aspects of Krishna consciousness. Over time, I began to realize that I lacked in love, and that I could hear about such pastimes, but I could not penetrate into the depth of the love of the gopis, and that therefore, in reality, I could not comprehend the full experience of Gopi Bhav. So I began to realize that I had inherent weakness of heart and that I needed mercy. It was at that stage where I made a shift to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This was maybe early 80s. I became more and more focused on Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, very much aware that I needed that mercy. I think it was in 1984, if I remember, that for the first time we had an all-in-one volume Chaitanya Charitamrita. I think Hansa Dutta did it. And I had that volume, you know, I was in those days one of the first, and a new book come out, I would grab it. And I had it, you know, one of the few copies. And so that book stayed with me until, you know, it was virtually unreadable, and I replaced it for another copy, a little bigger, but with a bigger letter type, because my eyes also went down over the years. So for years, I was carrying this volume, the all-in-one Chaitanya Charitamrita volume, which we have these days, which weighs 2.5 kilos in my hand luggage. Yeah. And yeah, so the book became my companion, or rather, I became the companion of the book. With that, as I became the companion of the book, I became inspired to write a companion to the Chaitanya Charitamrita. I've seen many attempts to write study guides, study guides which are like literally following the verses and try to give us insights, overviews of what is written here in the text. I wanted to do something of a different nature. I do want to write about how the Chaitanya Charitamrita is constructed in different ways, and why I think it possibly is constructed in that way, and what Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is trying to convey, by the way, like, for example, first Panca-tattva described in the first 7 chapters, and then then the author's inspiration to write, and Bhakti Kalpataru, and then going towards the early pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, where his divinity is really emphasized. Practically each pastime that's described from chapters 13 to 17 Adi Lila is highlighting it's highlighting some miracles, it's highlighting the divine nature of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So I did look a bit at at what Krishnadas was doing and how he constructed it, and in this way I do deal with with some sort of overview of the text, although not with a very fine grit, but more what motivated Krishnadas Kaviraj to present Krishna consciousness in the sequence he did. For example, you get first in these first 7 chapters an explanation of Panca-tattva, and then followed by, totally out of chronology, by a chapter that describes Lord Chaitanya as a sannyasi meeting Prakāśananda Saraswati, the impersonalist sannyasi, and his disciples in Varanasi. So
that's the section we are reading now in this group.
Oh, well, it's very interesting, oh dear readers, because look, that's out of place, right? I mean, he hasn't even, we haven't discussed his appearance yet. That comes in chapter 13. And, he hasn't gone through his childhood yet. And certainly he hasn't taken sannyas as yet, right? So why is Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami putting this chapter there? Yeah, to me, it is very clear. The reason is that he describes the Panca-tattva, the five different tattvas, the 5 truths. And of course, that sounds a little bit familiar to the 5 types of worship, or the 5 deities that are presented by Sankaracharya, the Panchopasana. So where he describes deities going from Durga to
Ganesh,
to Surya, then to Ganesh, and then to Lord Shiva, and then to Lord Vishnu, and then finally, and these are all manifestation of that same impersonal Brahman. You sometimes see these nice pictures of Krishna with a big Om sign behind him. And it basically means that Krishna is just the personal manifestations. Actually, just a temporary manifestation of the real thing, which is behind him, which is Om, which is Brahman. Well, so this Pancha-pasana philosophy, I think that Krishnadas was afraid that the reader might just confuse the Panca-tattva with Pancha-pasana, since that was widely spread, that philosophy, and quite commonly heard. And therefore, he just put this chapter of where Mayavad is being dealt with right there after this explanation of Panca-tattva. It's very interesting how he does that. And it's interesting, he cuts the impersonalist encounters with Prakāśananda and his disciples in two pieces. First half he does in chapter 7, Adi-līlā, and the next part he does in chapter 25 of the Madhya-līlā, which is the last chapter. And that comes after all the explanations where the philosophical chapters. You know, there's like chapter 19, Madhya chapter 19, Rupa Goswami, teachings of Rupa Goswami. And then a whole bunch of chapters following teachings of Sanatana Goswami. So this is a serious philosophical chunk in the Madhya-līlā. It is like the philosophical heart of the Madhya-līlā. And then at the end, again, he sews it up.
In case you didn't, in case you didn't get it the first time.
Right. In case you still had some ideas that Mayavad could be part of it, he just has placed the second time meeting with Prakāśananda's disciples and so on, right there after these philosophy chapters. So in this way, I deal with an overview of how Krishnadas constructed his Chaitanya Charitamrita. And these are just some examples of that. There are many more points in that theme. And then I deal with a thematic approach. Right? You know, there is a book which Rupa Sanatan in Radhadesh, who has studied literature, made me aware of, called the Symptopicon. And and that book is a book which harnesses the great ideas that basically have come about in the modern world of thought.
In Western thought, particularly.
Western thought, exactly. Yeah. Western thought, yes. And then Mortimer J. Adler and Charles Van Doren did a compendium of Western thought, right? The great treasury of Western thought. Okay, which I also have. And they have identified some close to 110 main ideas. So I thought, why don't I just take all the main ideas of the Chaitanya Charitamrita and present them in a thematic way, drawing from Chaitanya Charitamrita first of all, and then drawing from other biographies and maybe other relevant sources.
Very nice, very nice.
It is a little, you know, Krishna Kshetra Maharaj, you know, I like you very much because you are so relaxed about life, right? In fact, I affectionately call you his relaxedness. Like in the Bhagavatam, we see Narada Muni is described as your goodness, and I would like to describe you as your relaxedness. And I highly appreciate that.
I'll take it as a compliment.
Oh, it is a compliment. Believe me, it is. Like, I'll give an example, Maharaj. It's like you started writing this book on the yogas of the Bhagavad Gita. Right? Now, that's a good topic. It's a good topic. I downloaded all the snippets that I could get from the internet, puzzled them together, and I have a PDF of what you did.
Okay.
Yes, yes. Because I liked it. But I liked the concept, you know. The concept is obviously relating to the time, the yogas in the Bhagavad Gita, and you just took each chapter name and explained which is always entitled yoga, like Visara, the yoga for the first chapter, the yoga of dejection, and how Arjuna is there in the state of dejection, but he's connecting with Krishna in his dejection. Yeah. So it was very nice to see how you went through these yogas in the Bhagavad Gita. And it's a great book. And I thought it's a great book to write, because as you start writing the book, you already see the finish, right? I thought that's typical Krishna Kshetra. A brilliant book, sharp on the point, and yet he manages to do it in a relaxed way. Now, here's Kadamba-kanana Swami. He is just the opposite. Kadamba-kanana Swami, he digs himself a deep hole in the ground. He finds himself at the bottom of it and think, how did I get in here? And worse, how do I get out of here?
Does that have anything to do with your Dutch roots?
I'm not sure. But it's just something in my nature, Maharaj. It's like I dig myself finally out of the hole with a lot of trouble. I get out of the hole, only to turn around and start digging a new hole. And I dig myself in my whole life. I'm digging myself in hole after hole.
You could write your autobiography in terms of hole digging.
The diggers, yes.
The diggers. Maharaj, we unfortunately kind of come to the end of our time. I keep a pretty strict, sort of, we're stopping now because I don't like to keep people have their lives, but maybe we can end with a question that has been written in the chat. Maybe there are two now. I don't think we're going to have time for Sugopis. Dira Lalita has written, and this relates to what you were speaking about before, Krishna's remembering. She says, I am insignificant and lowly. What are the odds that Krishna is going to remember me?
Yeah.
Putting it in terms of probabilities.
Right. Well, I indeed, at the time when I was, contemplating the interest percentage that might be there in the eternal spiritual bank balance, being from Dutch descent, when I was contemplating that, and when I realized that Krishna was reciprocating with Draupadi in this way, that each time he remembered her service, his appreciation increased. Then I was thinking, well, Krishna is not known to be forgetful. Bhaunimi me vyatitani, right? He says to Arjuna, many, many births, both you and I have taken, you have forgotten, but I still remember. Krishna remembers. So as Srila Prabhupada gave us this generous vision of Krishna, a vision of a very kind, generous Krishna, who's achyuta, who's infallible, who never fails to notice anyone's service from Krishna book. Then I was thinking, yes, no matter how insignificant, no matter how lowly, how fallen, but if there is some little service, Krishna will notice and appreciate. And we've seen these dynamics described. his remembrance of that service makes his appreciation grow. So even if we once do a little service, Krishna is not only appreciating that service, his appreciation for it is growing. I think that what is outlined there in relation to Draupadi is revealing something about Krishna's nature, and that Krishna is like that. When he remembers someone's service, his appreciation is increasing. And it is like that, you know, like when we dwell on someone's good qualities, our appreciation is increasing. So I think that whether we are lowly and fallen, right? Whether we are even fallen, whether we are even not following all Krishna's injunctions, or whether we are only following some more gross outline in terms of 4 regulative principles, but have not filled in the finer aspects of surrender within that framework of 4 regulative principles. So whether we're falling short in our dedication or not, I think Krishna's nature is Krishna's nature. And he is appreciative, highly appreciative. And therefore, Krishna totally disregards how lowly and insignificant we all are. Because there, oh dear Lalita Mataji, there we are all in the same position, residents of the age of Kali. Manda Sumanda Matiyo Mandabhagi Upadruta. We are all falling short so much of the ideal. But this mercy element is just amazing. Krishna is so kind, so kind. He genuinely appreciates the smallest little service rendered, and his appreciation is increasing. Remember the interest percent.
Very nice. Maharaj, I think you've struck a very nice positive chord for us to end our session and to prepare us for this next week and for Ram Navami coming up and all such celebrations. And so I think we all want to thank you for giving us your time. And I'd like to warn you that I might pester you another time to come back and visit sometime.
Now, dear Swami Maharaj, before I will oblige. I'm definitely obliged to offer this generous invitation to such an unqualified soul as I am. I am compelled to oblige to make a counter invitation.
You don't feel obliged.
Hey, Maharajji. Maharajji.
Do not feel obliged.
What can we do? Anyhow, I have a very nice group also on Zoom every Friday night. So maybe one time we can invite you.
Okay.
I'll take your inspiration now. And
okay.
Because not right away, Ram
Yeah.
Navami and this. And
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Just in a relaxed way, of course.
In a relaxed way. Yes.
I'm not going to stress. You know.
So let me just ask the devotees if you want to confirm that you're happy that Maharaj has joined us. You can unmute yourselves if you like.
Haribol!
Hare Krishna.
Hare Bol, Maharaji. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Haribol! Thank you. That was wonderful. Haribol. Haribol.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. Haribol.
Okay. On that happy note, best wishes to all of you. Thank you all for joining us. We had more devotees joining. I suspect some of your clan have also joined.
Could be that they must have passed on. I didn't pass on the number, but
somebody leaked the news. I don't know.
Somebody. Yeah, I didn't put it on because I wasn't sure if you could handle such an influx of people.
Anyway, it's been very nice. Okay, thank you all. Thank you, Maharaj.
Thank you, thank you.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, nitya-gaurāńga-līlā Hari
Haribol.
Dhanyavad Maharaj.
Hare
Krishna Maharaj.
Namaha.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Nila Chalachandra.
Thank you for your answer, Maharaj.
Oh, yes, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Oh, my
Thank you so much, Maharaj.
Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you. Very nice to meet you all, and hope to meet you again.
Thank you.
And
Hope to meet you again.
yes, why not? huh?
Yes, Maharaj. Yeah, hope to see you in Vrindavan, Maharaj.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
All right, I'm taking your leave now. But Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.